What's up guys, in this video I will give my opinion about Outriders, a new RPG looter shooter developed by People Can Fly and published by Square Enix. If you enjoy role-playing games, please consider subscribing for more content like this, it really helps out the channel. Without further ado, let's get right into it. First, let's talk about what Outriders does well, starting with how the game looks. As you can see from the gameplay, it has decent graphics. Nothing special, but they're good. Aesthetically speaking, well, it depends in which area you are in. For example, the starting area is a bit bland, but later on when you get to the jungle, it looks a lot better. Another thing that I must say is that the design for legendary items are very cool. A lot of them look like they are made from organic parts, and it really gives them a unique look that just adds to the feeling of accomplishment when you find one. Performance-wise, the game is doing well, at least for me. Sometimes I was getting FPS drops and stuttering, but it really did not happen often. However, if you are on Steam, make sure you launch the game with DX11. When I started playing, I was using DX12 and oh boy, the performance was really bad. Now let's talk a bit about the story. A lot of people have been shitting on it, however, I personally don't think it was that bad. Obviously, it's not that great, but it kept me interested until the end. Anyways, let's be honest here, I don't think there's a lot of people playing looter shooters for their story. I think a lot of people would still play the game if it had no story at all, so long as the combat is enjoyable. Speaking of the combat, they really nailed that aspect of the game. I think it's still worth mentioning that it is very bullet spongy depending on the difficulty you play on, but I personally did not really mind and I was still having a lot of fun. There is a decent mob diversity and some of them will really keep you on your toes. It's not the kind of game where you can just shut down your brain when you are grinding and let your muscle memory do all the work. You need to be attentive because some mobs are way more dangerous than others. The bosses are also pretty hard and you need to pay attention to their different mechanics if you want to defeat them. Your character is super fun to play and the controls are responsive, at least on PC. I really like how you have to weave your powers into your gunplay and these powers feel very impactful. It is so satisfying to see mobs explode all over your screen with a bunch of particle effects. Also, the cool thing about these powers is that they can be customized via item mods, which brings me to my next point, the crafting. The crafting is very well designed and it is, in my opinion, one of the best aspects of this game. Any items that you find can be leveled up, you can upgrade its rarity, you can boost its attributes, you can change its variant, and you can also change the mods on it. That means that if you find an item that you really like, you can upgrade it and change it to keep it relevant as you progress through the game. To unlock a mod, all you need to do is to salvage an item that has that mod and it will be added to your mod library. There is 3 tiers of mods. In the first tier, you've got mods that are class specific because they affect your different class skills, like the mod Etna that allows you to do the eruption skills twice before triggering its cooldown. In the tier 2, you've got some really cool mods like this one that replaces your rolls with Phantom Dash, letting you pass through enemies. And the tier 3 are legendary mods that you can find only on legendary items. Some of them are a bit more unique and very powerful. For example, this legendary weapon mod that creates a bubble when I kill a mob that I can then shoot to make explode for tons of damage. Lastly, for the good points, I want to praise the fact that Outriders is a buy-to-play game with no microtransactions. I just really hate microtransactions. It's also not a live service, meaning that the story does not end with a massive cliffhanger baiting you into getting the next DLC. When you buy it, you get the full game. First, for the negative aspect of the game, I want to talk about the bugs because, oh boy, this is just ridiculous. I've had my whole inventory wiped out after 42 hours of gameplay. All of my items just gone in a couple of seconds. And I'm not the only one who experienced that bug. If you go on Reddit, you will see a bunch of people talking about this issue. This is a bug that was present in the demo and somehow made its way into the full game. This is unacceptable, and I am sick and tired of games launching with such game-breaking bugs. Though it might be the worst, this is obviously not the only bug in the game. For example, sometimes monsters are getting stuck in walls. Sometimes I get a weird sound glitch. And I once fell through the map upon joining a co-op game. These are only some of the bugs that I've experienced, and many other players have reported a bunch of other technical issues. If that wasn't enough, the servers are also trash. One of the biggest complaints about Outriders has been that you can't play offline, which has led to a lot of frustrations when the game launched on April 1st. And rightfully so. For the first couple of days, the servers were extremely unstable, making it unplayable for a lot of people, some of them who only wanted to solo the game. The servers are a bit better now, but they are far from working perfectly. It kinda reminded me of Error 37 when Diablo 3 launched. Clearly, the situation is not that bad with Outriders, but it proves once again that online-only single-player sucks. If a game offers solo gameplay, you've got to be able to play it offline. Even if the servers would be fine, maybe I'll have internet connection problems at my place, in which case I would like to keep playing the game. That being said, clearly this game was not designed with solo play in mind. There is a lot of mobs all attacking you at the same time, and they all spawn in different spots all around you. When you're playing alone, having all of those mobs targeting only you just doesn't feel right. Unfortunately, due to server instability, poor matchmaking, and horrible scaling, most players don't want anything to do with each other. When you join a game, it sometimes puts you in the middle of the expedition, more on that in a moment. It doesn't seem to match people of similar power level, and sometimes you would just join a game with someone who is AFK in the camp with no way to talk to them, because for some reason this game just doesn't have an in-game chat. So yeah, the multiplayer experience when using matchmaking is just that bad. Now I want to talk about the metagame and the endgame. First, let me explain how the endgame works. Once you're done with the story, you will unlock a new activity called Expeditions. There are only 14 of them, but they all take place in new areas, so at least it's not recycled content like so many games tend to do nowadays. In these expeditions, you will fight hordes and hordes of enemies, and at the end you will get a drop pod with a bunch of items in it. The goal of these missions is to complete them as fast as you can to maximize the end rewards. Since the rewards for these endgame expeditions are tied to how fast you can complete them, that promotes only one type of playstyle, which is DPS. Because of this, the metagame for Outriders emerged extremely quickly. One would think that with 4 different classes and so many mods, there would be more build diversity. However, this is not the case. 3 of the 4 classes have a skill that makes your bullets more powerful. For the Pyromancer, it's called Volcanic Rounds. The Trickster has Twisted Rounds, and the Technomancer gets Blighted Rounds. Most endgame builds are built around these skills, leaving the Devastator falling behind in terms of damage because he does not have a skill like this. Some people even said that they would get kicked out of co-op games simply for playing a Devastator because its damage is too low compared to other classes. People Can Fly has addressed this issue, however, their solution for this problem left a lot of people very angry. Instead of buffing the Devastator and other abilities, they decided to nerf the 3 bullet skills, essentially nerfing the 3 most powerful builds. I understand that any game requires balancing, but nerfing a build is rarely perceived well by the people playing it, especially when this nerf happens only a couple of days after the release. Another thing that I don't like about this game is how the world is built. Each maps consist of smaller instances linked together by some sort of door or blockade, and because of that, the game feels very segmented. It is also very linear. To make things worse, most of the times when you interact with a door, there is a cutscene. And it's not just a quick cutscene, it's a full process of fade to black, playing a brief video, and then fading back to the game. At first, I did not think it was such a big deal, but over time, it did started to get on my nerves. The reason they gave for those cutscenes is because this system is used to bring co-op players together when they're moving from one area to another, but I am sure they could have found another solution. Another complaint that I have is that the map is not really good because it does not show you your exact location. It only shows you what area you are in. That makes it super hard to orient yourself when you don't have a quest to track. The minimap is no better. In fact, I'm not even sure I can call this a minimap. It's more like a radar that's showing you the mob's position and other stuff, but it won't show you any terrain. Also, you can't fast travel from anywhere, you need to reach a fast travel point, which can be a little bit bothersome at times. So in conclusion, I had some fun with Outriders, however, because of the bugs and server issues, I simply cannot recommend this game in its current state. An update just dropped on Friday and it is supposed to fix some of the issues currently in the game. However, it apparently made the item wipe bug even more common, which is not surprising at this point. Even if they eventually managed to fix most of the bugs, launching a game in such a poor state is just unacceptable. It was delayed 2 times, yet it still wasn't ready. I simply cannot express how disappointed I am in People Can Fly for releasing such an unpolished game. Gamers are not free beta testers. Anyways, that's it for this video. Leave a like, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.